Welcome to Sales Velocity TV, where we pull back the curtain on how the top businesses in the world sell more with less resistance. Bringing over 50 plus years of combined sales experience and over 100 million in revenue generated, please welcome the hosts of Sales Velocity TV and two incredibly entertaining gentlemen, Andrew Cass and Aaron Parkinson.
Aaron, this is a bittersweet moment. This is episode 150.
First off, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. We've been doing the show for now, I think, about 3 years. We haven't really missed too many weeks. We're a live every Friday show on Facebook Live. Then we're on YouTube. Then we're on all the podcast platforms. But this is 150, and we have good news and bad news. Which one you want first?
Let's talk about the good news first off, which is that less than 0.5% of podcasts ever started get to episode 150.
Fair. So going on 3 years, yes, it's kind of like a business, right? There's a window where it either makes it or it doesn't. Podcast has been phenomenal. Response around the world has been phenomenal. One of the top shows in the sales and marketing category. It's not a huge category, but the good news is, well, that's good news. The bad news is this is the last show. I'm going to let that marinate for a minute.
And then I'm going to say ish.
The good news is, because we're rebranding the show completely for 2024, it's the beginning of 2024 right now. So this will be the last show as Sales Velocity TV and radio, and we won't reveal the new name yet because we're only at 97% agreement on it. We got to get to 100, but we will be completely rebranded, brand new show, a lot more broad. So we talk about sales. We sometimes veer off into politics and economics and even some health and wellness type material here. But really what we're after is the ability to go big and broad and worldwide. So business, of course, sales and marketing, entrepreneurship, of course, that's our baby. That's how we're wired. But there's also other things happening around the world that are really important to us, to our viewers. And I really think to become a well-rounded entrepreneur, business person, family man, you really need to know what's going on in all these areas: economics, business, politics, health, and wellness. So we're going to be able to talk about a lot of different topics. And these are topics that we've had a lot of fun with. And frankly, the best feedback we've gotten as a sales show over the last 150 episodes is when we veered off and we've talked about a health and wellness topic or a political topic or an economic topic. So it's going to be fun to be able to not really feel like we're pigeonholed into one category, but more broad, more fun, more options.
Yeah, I think that the motivation behind it is 50-50, right? 50% of it, the motivation to do it is because it's more fun for us when we can go more broad.
Yep.
And the other 50% is we feel like we're not doing the level of service that we want to our viewers and listeners when we're not conversing about these other topics. And we really want to impact as many people as we can. And if we're only stuck in sort of one lane, it really limits our ability to, have the impact that we want for our viewers and our listeners.
And here's the big find for me, Aaron. What I've noticed is, first of all, at the end of the day, everybody wants to be successful in their respective areas of their lives: business, family, health, right? What we find is that the entrepreneurs, the people that we deal with, business owners and entrepreneurs on a daily basis, that's the world Aaron and I live in. I don't think you and I have ever even been an employee. I don't recall ever being a W-2 employee. Actually, I was a W-2 employee for like 6 months, the first 6 months out of college.
I can wholeheartedly tell you I was an employee, and I was fired from 5 of my 6 last jobs.
Wow. So you actually were a terrible employee is what you're telling me.
I am. I'm a horrible employee. I get into jobs, and I all of a sudden look at like all the things that could be better, and I try to fix them or tell the owner we should fix them, and they would say, "Listen, son, we want you to put the square peg in the square hole."
Yes, do what we say and think as we say, right?
Yeah,
the point I'm trying to make is the most successful business owners and entrepreneurs that we've ever dealt with over our collective 50-plus years in sales and marketing and internet marketing experience is they're very well-rounded. They don't just know a lot about one topic. So this is a sales show. They're not just sales wizards and marketing wizards. They're really well-versed when it comes to economics and politics and business, and they tend to take very good care of themselves. So they're very militant with their diet and their nutrition and their lifestyle, and all of that is what makes them more effective and more productive, which is why we want to be talking about all these topics, because it's the synergy of all these topics that I think will ultimately make you the most successful in your world.
Yeah, and to add to that, they're usually family people.
For sure.
Right?
And that's a big one too. You and I have families and kids that are at an age of their life right now where our impact on them is so important to their outcome, right? And I think you're going to find a lot of family topics and parenting topics, and really health and wellness is a big thing for us as well. Productivity, efficiency, all of that.
Absolutely.
So that's the starting point. Yeah.
Well, we're on 150. It's New Year's. It's first month of 2024. First week, right?
First week at
Still
the time of
first
this recording, first week of 2024, yes.
So we thought what we're going to do is we're going to end with a topic relating to sales velocity, because we're sunsetting sales velocity. So we're going to go out with a bang, right? And the topic for today is
diversity equals stability, right? I want to plant that twice now. Diversity equals stability. So where are we going with that? The critical importance going into 2024 here. Landscape is changing so quickly with technology and with media that we want to talk today and end off with strategies and ideas on how to have a more diverse portfolio when it comes to media and when it comes to selling. We get easily pigeonholed into doing things one way and just going all in and continuing to double down on that one way, even if that one way isn't producing, because it's all we know. It's the diversity and the stability of your media, your marketing, and your selling that ultimately will give you peace of mind and ultimately more success.
I don't remember whose quote it is, so I can't.
Diversity equals stability. That's a Dan Kennedy quote.
Okay. Well, this quote, I don't know who said it, but the most dangerous number in business is 1.
That's Dan also.
Okay. Well, there you go. It's an all Dan show today. So the challenge as humans, I think, and I've done this myself, so I'm not judging, is when we find something that works, we just keep plowing into it deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Right. And eventually that one thing stops working at a certain level of scale.
Inevitably, right?
Because you just can't push something to infinity. And on top of that, it leaves you open to cataclysmic damage. And I want to start this off the show off today with a quick story. So in the fourth quarter of 2023, in my agency, 7 Mile Media, we had 4 clients hacked on their Meta, Facebook, Instagram, paid advertising accounts. 4. We had 4 at one time. The total amount of monthly revenue that was instantly put to a halt in those businesses was $1.8 million per month in revenue was instantly put to a halt. Unfortunately, all 4 of those clients, against our better recommendations, were in one channel. So not only was that revenue halted.
When you say, to be clear, so they were in one channel, they were marketing in one, on
Correct.
Whether it be Facebook or YouTube only.
It was one client was Facebook only, doing $800,000 a month. One client was Facebook only, $200,000 a month. One client was Facebook only, $300,000 a month, and one was Facebook only, $300,000 a month. Almost $2 million a month in revenue.
Interesting that it's all Facebook.
Correct, because the Facebook, comparatively to the other digital media channels, is the highest targeted fraud hacking network. And it's not their fault. They're just big. And because humans interact with humans on that channel, it's easy to dupe people into clicking the wrong thing and handing over access and all of those kind of things. So we had to take a step back as an agency and create a complete new cybersecurity training and force every one of our clients to watch it.
I remember you telling me that.
Because it hurt our business, because now how do you charge clients retainers when there's nothing happening and there's no money coming in? And when something gets hacked, it can take a month to get it back. And when you get it back, it doesn't even really work properly a lot of the times. And so, many of these clients, we had said, hey, we need to introduce you to other channels. We need to diversify. We need to go to Google PPC, Bing PPC, YouTube, TikTok, Do
you find that they embraced it, or were they resistant to it?
They all said the same thing. We 100%.
We know, right?
We know. We just want to get to this certain level first, and then we'll do it. And it's kind of like the person that says,
I hate that phrase, Aaron, right there. I'll do it when.
When, right? I'll start working out when I have more time. And then all of a sudden
I'll
you get
invest in my business when my business is making money, although investing in your business is how it makes money.
Sure, I'm going to get my will done when I'm going to put cybersecurity in place around my
after I'm hacked.
Right. And the problem is when you keep saying when, you're just playing with fire.
Yep.
And when you got one of anything and it goes wrong, it's cataclysmic. I mean, one of these clients had 51 staff that they had to pay the entire 6 weeks while we were getting everything sorted out with no money, no new money coming in. Now, fortunately for them, they were diversified at least to the degree that they had a massive email list and they had a massive online community that was built from this. So they were able to
they had a customer base. They had a lead base.
They had a customer base and a contact base. So they were able to milk those customer bases and bring in $1 million, one of the clients, while we were getting everything sorted out. So they had an inbound, or they had an internal way to generate revenue, but they did not have any fresh external people coming into the pipeline.
And Aaron, here's the thing too, is today more than ever, there couldn't be more opportunity for diversification than there is today. And I think sometimes that's a blessing and a curse.
And I think that a lot of people too, they're going back to the beginning, they think they can just keep pushing something into infinity.
I think we've all been guilty of it.
Yeah, we're all guilty of it. And they're also risk adverse to trying something different because, I can just keep putting more money over here. The reality is that anything that you try new is going to have a learning curve. It's going to have a testing period. You're going to lose money for a little while until you get it. I just started a brand new campaign on LinkedIn, Andrew. I know nothing about LinkedIn, nothing. I'm an agency, and I hired another agency to go generate leads for me on LinkedIn. Why? Because I want to have another lead source and I want to learn how they're doing it. And then maybe I'll take it in-house or something else down the line, right?
Good idea.
But I know I'm going to be risking money for 3 months to see if it works, to figure it out. The risk is worth it because I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. And when you figure these things out, I mean, the scalability of 10 things working at once versus one is infinite. And the safety, it's the safety.
It's peace of mind. It's stability, right?
It's
Diversity
stability
equals stability, right? So
Absolutely.
if you get 40 leads a day from one lead source, or you get 10 leads a day from 4 lead sources, which one would you feel better about?
Way better on the 4.
Of course you would.
Way better on the 4.
Right. I mean, it's no brainer. It's like having one stock in a portfolio that's doing really well, and God forbid they miss their earnings and it's down 30% the next morning. But if you had 3 other stocks that were up 30%, you're winning. It's baseball.
Right. And look at that. Look at that analogy. I think the number is something like 99% of funds, traders, etc., can't outperform the S&P 500 index.
Stock pickers versus the index.
They get hot, they get cold, they're fugazi. Statistically, they can't outperform it over a 2, 3, 4 year time span.
Right.
Why? Because when you're buying the whole thing, you're diversified for the ups and downs and the challenges that are faced by those 500 companies, and overall you end up winning.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's the same in anything. It's the same in your nutrition. It's the same in your lead generation. It's the same in your product suite. It's the same in your investing.
It's just not the same in one place.
Where?
It's just not the same in your relationship.
No, I really don't think you should
Diversity does not necessarily equal stability.
I'll give you that.
Probably the one place I can think of where you might lose.
Right. In your significant other relationship, I'm going to say no. In the people you surround yourself, that you interact with, that you do business with, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right. I wouldn't recommend diversity in your significant other.
Yeah. Just, you don't want to put a minor disclosure on the.
Going to throw that.
But Aaron, a couple things I'll say about this. So let's talk about what do you do, right? So the first thing I would do going into any new year is I would analyze, where are my leads coming from? Where are my deals coming from? Where are my customers coming from? Is it referrals? Is it affiliates? Is it Facebook? Right?
Is it social? Is it YouTube?
Right, just identify them. And ideally, when you identify them, if you could look back at the year and get a rough idea of what was that mix, what was the percentage mix? 80% from Facebook, 10% from referral, 10% from affiliates, right? So
Sure.
At least you know, so you can start to balance that out a little bit. Right?
Sure.
That's what you want to do is almost do an inventory and an audit of where are you getting sales from now?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll know right away if it's one source. Most business owners today, believe it or not, are still just a referral-driven business.
Honestly, that's
begin and end with hoping people call them. Terrible.
And here's the crazy thing. All the things we talk about, the agency that I've built over the last 4 years, 100% built on referrals.
Not 100, right?
It's pretty close because I do a lot of training in different organizations, and then people come and they come and they join the agency. Now, in fairness to me, agencies are weird businesses because you can only be so full. It's a people-driven business, so that you can't just decide to 10x it overnight. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, fulfillment's tough.
It's all fulfillment and quality based, right? So for me, I didn't really want more clients than I could get based on referral. But even with that note, I analyzed it myself over the last quarter, and I said, I have to start diversifying outside of myself because it's just healthy and it's just natural, and maybe one day people won't like me anymore. So boom, in comes LinkedIn. Boom, in comes the academy I was just telling you about that we're building this quarter, which I will leverage. In this year, I was like, even though I'm doing great, I need to be proactive in diversify. I need to do the same things I tell my clients, right? Not do what I say, not what I do, right? I need to be a reflection of that. So it's a big push for me, even though I don't really need it in 2024, because it's just the right thing to do.
Great. Well said. I'm glad you said that, because I think we should probably share what we're both doing. We both have multi-million-dollar businesses, and I think it's helpful if we talk about how are we doing diversity equals stability. So for you, to just review, you're going to still be the content guy that brings in, and that's a little bit of a different referral method. You're doing content creation, which is bringing you deal flow. So it's not like it's people it's people that find you because of content.
I built the agency through content creation, through joint ventures, through affiliates, and through word of mouth from my customers.
That's organic, right?
Right. So it's all organic.
That's organic referral for you. Second pillar for you will be LinkedIn, because that tends to be where your people are. And the third one is I'm building a traffic class school incubator, right? So there's three.
Yeah, I'm building a courses and consulting incubator that allows people to come and learn our stuff and learn about us at a significantly lower price.
And ultimately elevate to you if they feel they need to, right?
Correct. And so I'm gonna have my own community that I'm building that can elevate in, and that'll create even more stability for the agency. So
there's three. Is there more?
Yep. The next after that is I'm actually going to spin up meta ads for the agency as well. The thing is
Facebook ads.
Instagram and Facebook ads. The thing is, I can only devote so much budget to LinkedIn and to Facebook and Instagram because there's only ever so much room in the agency. So there'll be small budget plays, but it will keep it full. And probably more importantly, and this is something that also is nice about diversity, is that when you're in lead abundance, you can be a lot more particular about who you work with. So if you're in a service-based business and you're kind of limited in your constraints, so maybe you're a consultant, maybe you're somebody who does custom curated projects for people. When you're in lead abundance, you can say, I only want to work with these types of people, with this type of revenue, with this type of personality characteristics, with this. But when you're not in lead abundance, you oftentimes have to take people that in the back of your head you shouldn't. And I've been guilty of that at times where I've said, like, this person, I don't want to work with this person. This person doesn't even really qualify to work with us, but we've got an opening right now and I want to make sure my team is fed. So boom, I'm going to put them in, right? When you get into that, even though I don't need more right now, that's one of the things that I'm excited about, is to say, oh, I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to now filter harder about who I'm willing to bring in, which therefore is going to give me a better experience and a better client base.
Yeah, it makes sense. Put you in a position of strength and in peace, right? Peace of mind.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So there's 3 or 4 for you. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Pipeline Pro going into 2024, we have been, as you know, predominantly Facebook, Instagram. We've done very well with Facebook, Instagram. It's been very difficult for us to find anything that even comes close. So that's been our dominant traffic source. But I'm always concerned about exactly the topic we're talking about here today. I jokingly tell my sales team every single week, every week I wake up, all 52 weeks a year, I always think, when is Facebook going to maybe have a problem with it or shut it down or ban something or, what they do, right?
Yeah.
And it's So all your stories, how we started, it's always in the back of my head, right?
Yep.
So we're always making a push to get into other forms of media, right? So for us, the big push at the end of 2023 was good old-fashioned cold email marketing. Not spam, meaning we hire an agency like you did with LinkedIn, and we actually go out and we acquire good data, and we mail them from other servers, and we mail them compliantly, and we give them a chance to unsubscribe, and we just reach out on behalf of us, and we talk about, hey, are you looking for better software to manage your sales, right? Just some qualifying questions of service. I probably, Aaron, get on average 5 to 10 cold emails a week from people about whether it's SEO, whether it's getting featured in Forbes magazine, whether it's, doing a documentary, whether it's, do you want us to run your ads for you? And I probably bite on like 1 out of 10, meaning sounds good. It was presented well. The language was good. They sound professional. The formatting of the email was good. The links in the email look professional. A lot of people come after me, reach out for, do you want to sell? Do you want financing? Do you want to go public? Things like that, right? So I get a lot of cold email. And it's cold. And how they got to me, who knows if they scraped my data? Who knows if they bought me on a list? But this is a very big business, cold email. In fact, in Pipeline Pro, we're launching a cold email marketing scraping tool this year. The point I'm trying to make, though, is we've now committed to that channel, but we're doing it right. We're not just buying a list and spamming the list like most people would do. Really, that's a novice way to approach it. We're approaching it like direct mail. When you think about direct mail, what do you do, Aaron? You go out and you buy a list or you rent a list. Like, for example, I could go to Men's Health right now. They rent their list. People are blown away by this. Nobody
I didn't know
this. Yeah, they all do. They rent their list. Like, you ever noticed it when you buy something, whether it be, I'll give you an example. I subscribe to a lot of financial newsletters. So when I subscribe to one or two, there's two go-tos that I have. I'm miraculously getting all kinds of new 15-page, 30-page ebooks, newsletters in the mail, letters saying, because you subscribe to this, we know you're this. And it's like, I know they're renting my name, the two newsletters, because it's a huge business within itself.
Sure.
But to direct mail, you've got to rent a list. You got to buy a list. And then what you do is you mail that list. So essentially, direct mail is cold. It's your cold prospecting.
Yeah.
So we're doing that with email right now, and we're starting to make that work. That's 2. Number 3 is our affiliate and our partner program. Right, is where a lot of our time and energy and resources go right now. Is we've built a really, really first-class certified partner and an affiliate program that pays very well, but also we've really put a really good income structure in place for our partners. That, for most companies, is free deal flow. I know some companies in the software space that they've built their whole business with just affiliates. People going out there and just marketing their software, making a 30% recurring income. It's a win-win situation. So for us, the 3 pillars are continuing to pound Facebook and Instagram because that's our best channel, pounding the email marketing done right at an agency scalable level, and really, really emphasizing and putting time, money, and energy into the affiliate partner program at Pipeline Pro. There's my 3 diversification plays. Now, right now, would I love that to be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3? Of course. It's probably like 70, 15, 15. Is that the right math? I don't even know. It's probably like something like that right now.
But how are you ever going to get to 1/3, 1/3, 1/3? If you don't,
play.
You got to grind, you got to test, you got to do whatever. And here's the thing. Maybe you won't get it different than 70, 15, 15.
Maybe I won't.
You'll have to add another one in that now it increases it. If all of a sudden the account goes down, though, are you dead?
No, we're not dead.
You're not dead.
You feel it, but you're not like, oh my God, we have nothing, right?
There's a difference between ouch and dead. And I met with a friend of mine here this morning in the Cayman Islands that has a fintech company, trading platform. And, he came to me last year and said, hey, can you help us market this? And there was a lot of challenges with what he had. And I just said, I don't think this is for me. And no drama around it. And he fixed all those problems. And he came back to me today and said, hey, we fixed all these problems. Would you be interested in doing the marketing for us now? And I said, yeah, I'd be interested in doing it now. And I said, what did you do this year that, helped you grow? He said, well, we wasted $120,000 on this thing over here that didn't work. I said, okay. He said, but we did invest some money in influencers this year. And we grew 20% this year off of 2 influencers.
Interesting.
And I said, well, that's outstanding. And he said, yeah, we've created 2 really great partnerships that they've brought in, $4 million in revenue. And I said, that's outstanding. There's so many things that people are unaware of that are opportunity. Cold emailing, direct mail, SMSing,
good old-fashioned radio and TV.
And TV, influence.
People don't even think of it. They just think internet.
And there's just so many things. But each one of those things, he said, yeah, we tried like 6 of them and they didn't work. Mm-hmm. But then we found one, and this one blew it up. And then we asked the one, hey, do you know anybody else like you that you could introduce us to? And they said, oh yeah, we do. Here's 2 more guys. And those 2 more guys blew it up again, right? So now they've started to build this base of influencers that are sending them amazing traffic. Andrew, I got to tell you one quick, I know we're going off on a couple of different tangents here, but it's our show, so we can do whatever we want, and we have to be done in 11 minutes. But do you remember Stanley, the metal green thermoses? It was really big in Canada. I don't know if it was big.
Stanley, my daughter just got one of those. They're huge now.
Okay.
These like handheld.
Pause on that thought. So Stanley has been around since like 1905. Mm-hmm. And they were one of the first like construction outdoor thermoses that kept things really, really hot.
I did not know that. But now I connected the dots. That was the brand of those old school construction thermoses.
Yeah, they were like like tank green color. They only had like one color. It was like this olive green color.
Wow.
And they've been the same shape for 100 years. So 5 years ago, that company Stanley on that product was doing $78 million a year, I believe is the number, which is outstanding for just a thermos. But they've been around for
one-time transactions.
One-time transaction, been around for 100 years. So they were looking to expand their marketing, and they brought in the guy from Crocs.
The shoes.
From the shoes. The marketing guy from Crocs. And he came in
those too.
And he found out that an influencer had been sharing their new product release, which was I think they call them slushers or crushers or something. They're basically like drink thermoses for women, and they had released it. Your daughter has one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, with a handle and a straw.
With a handle. So about 4 years ago, they released this thing, and it didn't go very well, but some influencer really loved them, and she shared it with her following, and they bought a whole bunch of them, and then they were sold out, and they weren't going to make any more. So she actually went to Stanley and said, I will buy my own run of these if you let me mark them up, and I'll sell them myself. And they said, sure, the minimum run is $5,000. She said she had to mortgage her house to buy this minimum run from Stanley, and she sold them all in 2 days. So this guy comes in from Crocs and says, hold on a second, we got a gold mine here. Let's go talk to this woman, this influencer. They do a partnership with her, and then they do a partnership with 8 other influencers like Rainey Wilson, country music. They do a whole bunch of other. The sales have gone up to $750 million a year in 5 years. 5 years.
Wow.
On this 100-year-old company. Because they introduced a new product, they introduced a new marketing method, and they pushed it further than they ever have before. I got balloons.
What the hell was that? Did you?
I got a new Mac, and I just downloaded the new Zoom, and apparently it's decided to put balloons.
That's incredible, man. You deserved it.
Thank you.
It's so fascinating, the Stanley thing. So, Aaron, my daughter, who's 9,
yes,
she just got one of those Stanley drink bottles. It's probably 20 ounce kind of a thing. Nice blue handle, straw, has a little funny animal to cover the straw. We waited 4 weeks for this thing. I'm like, what's the big deal with the Stanley?
Gone viral.
It did. Interesting backstory. I didn't know what the hype was all about. I didn't really think much about it. I'm just like, what's the big deal with the Stanley water bottle? Why do you have to have that one?
The distribution stores.
Tells me everybody at her school has one.
Yeah, the distribution channels, the Walmarts, the physical stores. Nobody has stock, and they're limiting people to purchasing one at a time, and there's lineups happening because it's gone viral.
By the way, have you seen one lately? Have you held one?
We could have one. I have no idea. My
Yeah,
wife.
it's a stainless steel water bottle. I mean, it's cool that it has a handle on it, but the handle's kind of annoying. It just makes the bottle tough to carry around because you're just sort of walking around like you have a giant coffee mug in your hand.
Apparently, the
And then
female
there's a straw that comes out, so it's not
the
really
female
sealed.
audience has gone bananas
It's
over these
amazing.
things.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Bananas. But the point is, diversified their product.
Diversified their whole business model in that case. Not really. They're a thermos company already, really.
Well, they went from marketing to exclusively males with this rustic olive green, done it for 100 years thing to, hey, let's introduce
like the construction of the Army guy model, right?
Yeah, that's going to be more female driven. We're going to try to approach this new one. And then it wasn't really going anywhere. And a lot of businesses would have been like, that didn't work. Give up, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, influencer goes. They work with this influencer. Then a few other influencers. They never worked with influencers before. They're a 100-year-old company. They make stuff and they ship in stores, right? And that diversification has 10x'd their revenue to $700 million a year from 2018 to now.
Damn.
Wild.
That is incredible. I mean, that's now moving from diversification of media to diversification of product mix.
Sure.
And maybe product audience too.
Absolutely.
Right? Could your product be adapted slightly for a different audience? That's a big play here when it comes to diversification as well, right?
Absolutely.
You've got a product that, let's say, has been serving, I don't know, fitness trainers for 50 years. What if that same product could also serve contractors, home service people? I mean, who knows, right? An adaptation to the product creating a new audience.
Absolutely.
Going into a whole new vertical like they did. Who ever would have thought that those industrial style thermoses would have all of a sudden been huge for kids with a little bit of an adaptation to the handle and the straw, and maybe you make it a little bit more kid friendly. That's all they did.
And an adaptation of the marketing message.
Yes, exactly. So it gives you a whole new place to go. That's huge, right? That's another angle here on the show is media diversification. But what if you're pigeonholed into one industry and you could be in 2 or 3 industries?
Absolutely. And now think about the leverage that these guys have. Now they're into not just men, but men, women, children, multiple colors, multiple features. What's the difference in your business if you to go from $78 million a year to $700 million? The leverage.
That is a fascinating story. Staggering.
Yeah, and all through diversification of multiple pieces.
So really, I think the big takeaway here is how do you think very differently? How do you think more diverse? Ultimately, it leads to stability, and it leads to peace of mind, really, is where it leads to. It leads to you not getting so worried about having all your eggs in one basket when it comes to media or when it comes to product mix. And that's a great place to be, is when you can get to a place where you feel like, you know what, I've got a bunch of fishing poles in the water, so to speak. And if they're not biting over here on this side of the boat, I've got a 20-pound tuna on that side of the boat, right? It's baseball numbers, it's portfolio numbers. And it's just really important to think that way, because a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, they don't, because they get stuck in the day-to-day and they play it safe with only focusing on what they know and what has worked in the past without, to your point earlier, exploring things that you might get chewed up and spit out and not work out. That's another hurdle here is, are you willing to go lose some money testing?
Absolutely. And Andrew, I'm sure you've heard these stories before. I heard a lot of them in 2023, to be honest. How many businesses do you know where they had a really bad year because they lost one big client?
I think we hear that all the time, right? That's a lot of all eggs in one basket thing. I mean, that's something that I think everybody can relate to, whether they lost a media channel or lost a big client, right?
I don't want more than 5% of my business at maximum to be tied to the revenue of one client.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
It's terrifying.
Because at the end of the day, they're not going to be with you forever.
No, what my CMO said this the other day. He said, I was mad because a client left, and I was like, why would they leave? They're doing amazing. I was annoyed by it, whatever. And he said, listen to me. I've been in the agency world for 40 years. My CMO has worked with, Heineken and Red Bull and British Airways. And he said, you have to remember that when a client comes to an agency, it's just an affair. And in the beginning, it's not heavy, and they're going to cheat on you with somebody else.
It's true.
Down the line. It's not a relationship. It's an affair.
That's a really good. Okay. That's really good analogy right there. It's well said. That's exactly what it is. And that's why that I don't love the business model because of that instability. But you create stability in the instability with diversification.
Correct. Different channels, different clients. That's, we're a subscription-based business, which we've talked about a lot before. So we don't have the volatility. We have a wait list. That offsets the instability of this particular industry.
Exactly.
Right. And again, that's the diversity that you have to have. Now, if somebody said to me right now, would you be willing to trade all of your clients that you have right now to work on one account? I'm going to bring in Coca-Cola, but it's going to take your entire team and you're going to probably make twice as much money.
I wouldn't do it.
Not a chance. Not a chance. The diversity lets me sleep at night.
They could be gone in 3 months because they feel like it. They're not. Absolutely. Nobody's tied to anything. Nothing's guaranteed. I'd be very skeptical of a relationship like that.
Yeah, I got offered a relationship like that 4 years ago with a financial newsletter that And they said, we will give you $5 million a year to hire your entire team right now and kick out all your clients. And I went, nope. No, thank you.
Yeah, they could terminate that relationship tomorrow if they wanted to.
Absolutely.
Sorry, times are tough. We thought it was going to work out. It did, and we're going to terminate early. Now you're left with nothing.
Nope.
If you play that game, right? You probably had to just go all in on them, right?
I did. Yeah, I would have needed the entire team on them.
Yeah. So what I would say here in closing episode 150, Aaron, is you sometimes have to get out of the day-to-day. And the beginning of a new year is a good time to do that. Really look at what went on last year. Look at what you want to do this year. Look at other venues and other media sources you want to be in, right? Going into a new year, that's common to do, right? It's front of mind for most people in a new year to say, okay, I want to look at last year. I want to look ahead. I have new ideas. I want to do new things. So this is the time to do it at the beginning of a new year because we're already hardwired to want to be doing it anyways.
Exactly.
We should be doing it all the time, but human nature, we're wired to want to do new things, and we're thinking about bigger things, and we're open-minded to diversification going into a new year. So I would say, as I said in the middle there, is take a look at everything that brought in deal flow last year, and then figure out where can I add a couple pieces to the portfolio, right? That's really the key. And any final words before we pivot out of Sales Velocity TV and into a brand new, by the way, you're listening, you're watching, whatever, nothing changes. Just the name of the show will change. The channels don't change. If you're already a subscriber on Apple iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify, nothing will change. You'll just see the change to the show in probably the next couple of weeks at the latest. It'll be a January 2024 changeover.
Yeah, I think the final words are really just, I want to thank everybody who's supported us, watched, listened, sent us great feedback, reviews, all those things.
More and better to come.
Yeah, we don't take it for granted, and we appreciate the support.
Psyched about the new show, man. There are so many topics that we want to cover and talk about that we sometimes have to bite our tongue in the middle of a sales show to not talk about. So it's going to be fun to go bigger, broader, with more topics. I'm going to wrap it here, Aaron. This one's a wrap.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Sales Velocity TV is powered by Pipeline Pro, the ultimate all-in-one sales pipeline management and marketing automation platform that makes all others obsolete. And we can prove it. Take a tour at gopipelinepro.com. See you on the next episode.